Next at 5, a high school mourns the death of a student who collapsed during a hockey game. There are some new details tonight about what caused his death.
Also coming up, Mayor Daley wants to put a dozen new ambulances on the city streets, but everybody is not necessarily happy about the plan.
Thousands of fans of the Backstreet Boys go home a little unhappy. We'll tell you why.
And a website that lets you stay in touch all day long, even when you're away from the computer. The news at 5 is coming right up.
Closed captioning of this newscast is brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana's favorite oil change.
With our most advanced four-wheel drive system ever, Quadra Drive, Jeep Grand Cherokee goes where you could encounter anything. So we tested for anything. Check one out at your Jeep dealer.
It's so weird being on the Wheel of Fortune with Pat and Van, and my stomach gets so queasy.
Get used to it, folks. We ain't going nowhere.
Cash, moolah, dinero, no matter what you call it, it all adds up to big fun on the next Wheel of Fortune.
Tonight at 6:30 on ABC7.
It's our biggest sale of the season, Carson's Days. Save 30 to 50% store-wide. Start Saturday, 8 a.m. Carson's, your style of living.
Hi, Mom. Hi, sweetie. Hi. Hi, Mom. Oh, hi. Please close the door.
The first day you have a second line from Ameritech, you'll experience something new. Phone, Internet,
Yes.
peace and harmony, all at once.
I know. I got a C+.
Your kids will have to find something else to fight over. A second line from Ameritech costs less than you might think. Call 1-800-347-4444.
ABC 7 News, Chicago's #1 news, with Diane Burns, Ron Majors, weather from meteorologist Jerry Taft, and sports with Mark G. and Greco. This is ABC 7 News at 5.
A shocker at a suburban high school. Students are mourning the death of a classmate tonight. Brian Knuerr was stricken right in front of some of them. He had a heart attack and collapsed on the ice during a hockey game. Friends and relatives leave a shrine outside Knuerr's home to honor him and to show the love he shared for the game of hockey. Good evening. Brian Knuerr was a junior at Fremd High School in Palatine.
An autopsy now shows the 16-year-old athlete had a heart condition that doctors had not detected. He died during Fremd's first junior varsity game of the season. ABC 7's Rob Johnson is live from East Dundee tonight near the ice rink where Knuerr collapsed. Rob?
Ron, Brian Knuerr played on the JV club hockey team with his friends at Fremd High School, but no one could anticipate the collapse of a seemingly healthy teenage high schooler during a hockey game. And what's even harder to understand, even more tragic, is that Brian had a heart problem and no one seemed to know about it. 16-year-old Brian Knuerr died doing what he loved most, playing hockey. He'd been skating for years. During the third period of his game Wednesday, Brian collapsed on the ice at the Polar Dome ice rink. Hours later, he was dead. The Kane County coroner says Brian had a heart attack, but it wasn't his first, due to scar tissue that was found during the autopsy. That comes as a surprise to his father, Tom, who never missed a game.
I was totally confused and wondering why it could happen to a 16-year-old child and baffled by it. But I hope by the results of the medical testing they can save some other lives.
Outside the Knuerr home, a memorial to his hockey playing days. His family says Brian's number 26 will be retired. The Sportsmanship Award will now be named after him. Nevertheless, for his sisters and cousins, this is hard to understand.
Brian was not only a friend, but a guy you could go to talk to and tell him anything. He'd listen, he'd laugh.
He was a very special person, and there's no one else that compares, and we all are going to miss him. There's no words to describe him. He was just wonderful. He was an angel.
Students here at Fremd High School in Palatine were notified of Brian's death yesterday morning, after which there was a moment of silence and counseling for anyone who needed it. And today at 7:15, students gathered at the flagpole right outside of the school to remember their classmate.
It was just kind of shocking. Like, when I heard it over the announcements, I was like, no way. Because I knew him, you know. It's sad for me.
As for identifying potential health problems with would-be athletes, Dr. Frank Pangallo with Sherman Hospital in Elgin says physicals go a long way, but can't detect everything.
How do you know when the symptoms are from pushing yourself too hard, and how do you know if it's a result of heart disease? And my answer to that question is that if you're doing a routine workout, not one where you're pushing yourself, and you have symptoms, then that is something that should be evaluated.
Dr. Pangallo is speaking generally there, not about Brian's specific case. Meanwhile, friends and family will gather tonight for a vigil at the Knuerr household. His funeral is scheduled for Tuesday. Live in East Dundee, Rob Johnson, ABC 7 News. Ron?
Thanks, Rob. Brian Knuerr was the second athlete involved in a serious incident this week. His death came just hours after 17-year-old Robert Camosa was paralyzed. He ran into a pole when he was knocked out of bounds during football practice. Tonight on ABC 7 News at 6, the latest on Camosa's condition as his Rolling Meadows High School team prepares to play its next game without him.
Well, some glass fell